Real Housewives, star loses custody to MLB player. Was there a method to the madness? A Real Housewives of Orange County star has just lost custody of her 3 young children to their father, a former MLB, Major League Baseball player. Their divorce and custody battle has gotten a lot of mainstream media coverage after a recent event in which the mother lost custody after asking a school nurse to give her son an ADHD medication. Outrage is being expressed by both camps in comment sections. Some are making the mother out to be a villain deserving of losing custody, while others are saying what she did was not nearly bad enough to remove her 3 young children, one with special needs. Viewed in the context of the custody crisis, it appears there is something rotten in Denmark. Other events leading up to mom's custody loss indicate it may have been a setup, or at least the usual collusion, to execute yet another unjust great custody switch via family court. First, the mom's story, then some takeaways. Let us know what you think about it in the comments. Megan was raised in Missouri with her 3 siblings, who remain very supportive of her. After high school, she worked as a model. Discouraged with modeling, she attended the University of Mississippi as an engineering student. She switched to business and graduated with a degree in marketing. In 2013, she met Jim, a handsome sports broadcaster and former MLB, Major Baseball League pro, while appearing in the reality TV series Resale Royalty. They married in 2014. She became a stepmother to his 4 children from 2 previous marriages. She would later start a business with one of them. That same year, she began starring on The Real Housewives of Orange County, California, which was the very first Housewives reality show. It was so successful that it spawned off series in other states. Jim appeared in some episodes, as Megan's part centered around her marriage and mothering. Megan gave birth to daughter Aspen in 2017 and twin boys, Hayes and Hart, in 2018. Hart was born with a neurological impairment and required special care. So Megan quit work and devoted herself full-time to caring for him and the other 2 children. Quote, Megan has shut down all of her business ventures for the time being. Her days consist mostly of her caring for her kids and taking Hart to his doctor's appointments. Unquote. Quote, my kids and my family are everything to me. I'm just focusing on the things that matter. Unquote. Not so much for Jim. Megan would later remark how Jim had not been involved at all in his or his siblings' care and would not go to any of his medical appointments. Quote, Jim has not attended one specialty doctor's appointment. When I say that, I mean neurologist, ophthalmologist, audiologist, and he's never gone to one IEP, Individualized Education Program, meeting. Unquote. Jim would deny that his son had cerebral palsy, even though there was a diagnosis. He did not like people knowing his son was special needs, while Megan thought it was good to raise public awareness about it. Many of her followers commented about how uninterested Jim seemed in the children. Some said he admitted he did not even want them. See comments from articles below. Cheating and divorce. Just a year after the twins were born, Megan caught Jim cheating with another woman, sexting her. He denies anything more that, but the woman claimed publicly they had had an affair. It was a tabloid scandal. Megan talked about how loyalty was very important to her, and she considered sexting a breach of their trust. Quote, to me, it's very simple and easy to stay loyal. This is a value of mine. I have enough integrity and self-love that if I feel a desire to stray outside of the marriage, I'm going to communicate that with my partner and do it in the right way and the respectful way. Unquote. Apparently, Jim was not happy he got caught. There was another allegation, too. His cheating eventually led to a bitter separation and divorce. The divorce was finalized in 2021. Megan had launched a podcast, which was quite successful. This enabled her to remain a full-time mother while also working part-time. Both she and Jim moved back to Missouri and lived close by one another. This made visitation exchanges easy, although they remained pretty much estranged and just communicated via texts. But there was not to be peace in co-parenting. Jim apparently harbored resentment and was so verbally abusive in texts and on the Family Wizard parenting app that she had to get a restraining order to stop it. In 2022, Jim remarried. Custody issues often change when a man finds a woman who will take care of his kids for him. And boy, did they. Bogus trespassing charge. In May of this year, Megan was bringing over a shirt that Aspen wanted while on a visit with Jim, a typical shared parenting situation. This handoff to Aspen had been cleared ahead of time with him. However, when she arrived, stepmommy answered the door and said she would take the shirt. Megan said she wanted to give it to Aspen herself, but stepmommy said she wasn't home, so Megan called out for Aspen in case she was really there. There was obviously some mistrust between them. This apparently pissed off stepmommy. She slammed the door in Megan's face and called the police. She reported Megan had stepped foot inside the door, but Megan insisted she stayed outside and just called Aspen's name. Quote, Megan briefly called to her daughter from the doorway, never stepped inside, had the door slammed in her face, and calmly left her belongings on the porch. Upon leaving, she was unexpectedly blocked by multiple police vehicles and treated in a way that felt unnecessarily hostile. Unquote. Megan told the police that Jim was incredibly emotionally abusive to her. Whatever the case, there was no physical altercation, and it should not have been a huge deal. But Jim used it to get Megan criminally charged with trespassing and then put conditions on her for the charges to be dropped. These included that she could not ever speak publicly about her children or family again. This was the first step in the silencing, disempowering, and divesting a mother of her children. Bogus CPS investigation. Despite this setback, Megan kept going strong. She ended her podcast and took up modeling again. She began working in real estate, which has become popular with models, as beauty seems to help with sales. She was a successful, hard-working single mom, enjoying life. But one day last month, her world as she knew it collapsed, courtesy of family court, of course. Megan asked the school nurse to give Hayes an ADHD medicine she had sent with him. The nurse may have called Jim to get his permission. What followed was patently absurd. Apparently, the prescription was not valid, but instead of the nurse simply telling Megan she needed to get a valid prescription, she reported her to CPS as if she were a real danger to her child. It's impossible to believe CPS would open an investigation of Megan without Jim approving, if not encouraging it, as if a CPS is not busy enough with protecting children from parents who are actually a danger. Now, it stands to reason that if Megan had had some sort of drug her child ill intent, she would have just given him the medication herself, secretly. But she asked a medical practitioner to give it to him, apparently believing that was okay. Her intent was obviously to help him concentrate in school, which Ritalin is meant to do. She was certainly in no way meaning to harm him. After all, it is a very common medication given to school children. Method to the madness? But was there a method to all this madness? First, the bogus police report and criminal charges, and now a bogus CPS investigation. Of course, the CPS investigation would soon be closed since Megan was not actually a danger to her children. But this gave the court-appointed guardian, GL, or attorney the opportunity to file for a restraining order against her. It is almost impossible that this would have been done either if Jim did not want or encourage it. Despite the paucity of evidence, Megan was a danger to the children, and she could simply be refrained from giving Ritalin to Hayes. The judge granted the restraining order, giving Jim temporary sole custody, and Megan was restricted to supervised visitation twice weekly. This gave Jim what he apparently wanted: the power to take the kids to another state, far away from Megan. It turns out he had bought a house in Tennessee, and immediately after procuring the restraining order, he took the kids there. Now, in order for Megan to exercise her bi-weekly supervised visits, she needs to drive for 10 hours or spend a ton on flights and hotels and miss a lot of work. The biased media is reporting that she does not want to exercise all her visitation. How convenient for Jim to not have to travel to Missouri. And more importantly, what an opportunity to wreak revenge on Megan by taking her beloved babies away from her. Not to mention, now he will likely not have to pay child support. Of course, it's just temporary. We shall see about that. Comments on articles. Here are just a few of the countless comments in support of Megan on the various MSM articles. Unfortunately, there were almost as many negative ones, possibly more. This is partially due to the biased reporting, some just plain old misogyny. I watched that show a long time ago, and he was not nice to Megan at all. I couldn't understand why she stayed with him. I do believe he was mentally abusive of her. I agree, he wasn't nice and didn't really care about his daughter either. He also didn't want other kids. Why any judge would give the kids to a person who has openly admitted they didn't. The kids is beyond me. I live in St. Louis and see Megan around doing all kinds of things with her kids. There is no way she would hurt her children. Jim was such a star here with the Cardinals. But the local stuff I have read about him since he retired is not good. He treated her so wrong. Jim wasn't, and most likely still isn't, a good parent. These are children he didn't even want. This was said out of his own mouth. Sorry, you can think what you want, but any parent that doesn't want their kids should not have custody of them. I don't know these people, but this story sounds like the mom is being set up to be permanently removed from her kid's life. It's funny when the new wife participates in the plot. She thinks her new husband is God, and he would never do to her what he is going to do to his first wife. Yeah, right. He has repeatedly stepped out on whichever wife he's currently married to. Don't think that has ever been in the best interests of any of his multiple kids from any of his multiple baby mamas. You can comment here to support Megan. Takeaways. On the surface, to a public not versed in the male entitling ways of family court, this temporary custody deal may seem like a reasonable course of action, temporarily removing custody until a hearing can happen within a month to get to the truth. But that rarely happens. If past is prologue, the temporary switch will be made permanent. This is a favorite family court tactic. The case will be dragged out. Hearings will be continued. Jurisdiction will change to the father's new residence. Then, the final coup de grace. The judge will find it in the children's best interests to stay put with the father. It's insane that a wonderful mother like Megan can go from attempting to help one child concentrate in school, albeit wrongly, to her losing all 3 children to a father who does not deserve sole custody after having been a great mother the kids' entire lives. But it happens all the time. Family court is not really interested in the truth. Megan is trapped. She has been silenced and disempowered, as seems was the intent all along. She cannot get the truth out to her followers, or she could be criminally charged. And she is now likely terrified of saying anything that can and will be used against her in family court. Since she is not able to speak for herself, please help get the truth out about by liking, commenting, and sharing this post. If anyone knows who the judge is, PLZ comment or email womenscoalitionil@gmail.com and we will put a spotlight on him/her. We hope Megan fares better than most moms and gets her children returned at the hearing next month, but the odds are against her because family court is rigged. It exists to continue male power and entitlement in the family after divorce, and the only way to stop judges from taking our children is to take their power to decide custody away. All right, that is our custody crisis story for today. See you next week for another one. Like and comment.